Well, first, we don't call them loot boxes. I think that was
whatever term you wish to apply to them. Do you consider them ethical?
So what we look at as surprise mechanics.
Come here, little kids. I have a lot of surprises for you. Please bring your parents' credit cards and come here, buy all our surprises. Welcome everyone, KD here. Hope you liked my performance at the beginning here. So I also want to put in my comments about what is happening in the gaming industry, about regulations and stuff like this, but I don't really want to talk about what happened in the hearing and so on. I just covered that already, and I don't think I can give more comments to that than what people already showed. I think Angry Joe, Jim Sterling definitely. I think Young Ye did also a video about it. So just watch their videos, and for sure more videos will show up very soon talking about that. So what I want to talk about is how did it come to this? How did it happen? And I think there are two reasons for that. The first reason is this is something that was just a matter of time. I think that regulations come to the gaming industry, more regulations, that was just really a matter of time, absolutely, because most markets have already a lot more regulations and stuff like that. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that later on. The second thing is, and what I want to say is with that, it's not about loot boxes. Loot boxes may have just put some more eyes on the gaming industry, and loot boxes just probably made it come sooner than later, these regulations. I personally think regulations, the gaming industry can't avoid this forever. Anyway, the second reason is because, and I'm sorry to tell you, but the system is broken. Self-regulations does only work to a certain percentage, and if the industry is too big, it doesn't work anymore. I mean, there is some we saw a shift in the last years that goes more to indie games, that gives the indie market more substance, more customers and stuff like that. However, that's not only the reason that that AAA companies are shitty right now and make terrible games. That's not the only reason. The other reason is that it was never easier to create your own games than in 2019, and maybe in 2020 it will be a little bit easier again. But when we look back, it was never easier to create your own game. So the indie market is growing. But the other thing is kind of why I say the system is broken. Self-regulation doesn't work. Absolutely in a big market like this, because I'm watching this going on for a long time now. This is not something that started with the with 2017 Battlefront loot box controversy. This is something that is happening for a long time now. I think it's almost over 10 years. The first thing I remember, and that doesn't mean it's the first thing, it's just the first thing I remember, is first day patches. And we complained, we said that that's not a good practice. Games, they have to be finished when they release and not first be patched or anything like that, because that was the norm back then, that when you got the game, it worked, it was a finished, polished product. So we complained and said to the AAA companies, we don't want that. They didn't listen, they put it anyway in. So we went to the consumers, hey, don't buy the games on the first day, wait, or pre-order them, wait until they are finished and then buy them. Consumers didn't listen and brought them anyway. Then DLCs came, and we again went to the AAA companies and said, we don't want that. We don't want to have content behind the and they're really extremely extremely harsh examples I can give you where the companies went really over the top. There is, what is the name of the game? Asura's War was the name. Yes, I think so. Where they put the ending of the game into a DLC, and uh, and they called it something like true ending. So it was kind of like, no, the game is finished. This is just a true alternative ending. But that wasn't the case. If you went through the story, it was clear that this wasn't a satisfying ending in any way. So they cut something out of the game so they can solve it later on. And then are the famous horse armors for for Skyrim, not for Skyrim, for Oblivion back then, and just stuff like that. So we went to the companies and said, we don't want these DLCs. The companies didn't listen, they put it in anyway. So we went to the consumers and said, please don't support this. This is something bad. Please don't buy this DLC, so the companies will stop to do so. Consumers bought it anyway. Then microtransactions came, and we went to the AAA companies and said, we don't want that. This is a free-to-play monetization method. This has nothing to in full price games. We don't want that because we already paid the full price. So please give us all the content for the thing we paid already. Of course, the AAA companies didn't listen, put it in anyway. So we went to the consumers and said, please don't buy these microtransactions or anything like that. The consumers didn't listen, brought them anyway. Then loot boxes came, and the first time there was some backlash, and what the AAA companies did, they didn't get rid of loot boxes in any way or capacity or anything like that. They just call it now different. And of course, we went to the consumers and you are not so stupid to fall for that and buy this stuff, right? They were and still bought it. So what I want to say with that, this is a process that over a long time and never ever worked it with self-regulation. The market never regulated itself. That's kind of the point what I want to make is the system is broken. We need regulation, and I know for many people this is scary. But again, this is something that anyway should have happened. Or first thing, if you really think, no, free market without regulations, with only self-regulations, that's the way to go. Capitalism full the way. Then tell me, yeah, when will the change happen? When will the self-regulation happen? I mean, we see a little bit of it, but it's not enough to turn things around, to turn AAA companies around. And I'm not willing to wait again 10 years in the hope that maybe something changes when we can bring changes now with regulations and so on. And like I said, I know it's scary for many because many are afraid that the regulations will bring more than we want, that it will bring more censorship or anything like that. Yeah, that's again, we still have a voice. I mean, our screaming and so on, the AAA companies don't care because they only see money. And many people say that the consumers are not the ones that buy the games anymore, but their shareholders, and they only listen to the shareholders, and shareholders just want more money. But we still have a voice, and if regulations are coming, and if they regulate too much, then we still can scream at our legislator and say, hey, that's not what we want. please think about it, and then of course, it's kind of hope we have to hope that they do the right thing and just regulate the things that need to be regulated. I'm just personally really at the point I'm tired of all this shit that AAA companies do. That's why I'm working on my own game, because I don't think that they make games and that I'm interested in anymore. So I kind of had to. So there were two things that happened. One thing is I suddenly had more time because I played less games. The second thing is that happened was so that I got the possibility to create my own game, the game I want to play, and I had now the time to work on it, or I have now more or less the time to work on it. And yes, I'm just really so sick of this stuff that I just can't, that I just welcome regulations that kind of um, bring things more in order, that just stop the AAA companies going further and further and further this way. And I mean, when you listen to my the thing what I said before about when I said the gaming companies came with something, we rebelled against it, nothing happened, and so on. And you can of course say, first day patches and DLCs are not a big deal, but they were a big deal back then. What just happened? The AAA companies made it so normal that it wasn't a big deal anymore now, and you just don't remember it, or you're too young to remember it. But that's something that happens, and you can trust me, if you go further like this, then in 2, 3 years, maybe 5 years or so on, loot boxes won't be a big deal anymore, because the AAA market found something else they can make money off, and at some point it just has to stop. Uh, and you can say I'm wrong to want these regulations to come, but I think at this point it's just the right thing to do. Absolutely honestly, there is no, I don't see another way anymore. And I wish that regulation worked. That I, I mean, I'm so sick of these AAA games for a very, very long time, and I'm still surprised that people defend these games and still even buy and play these games. And I just lost the hope that something will happen, that something will change in the minds of the people, and that they will stop to buy these games, and force the AAA companies to change their way to. Also, I think we need a system. We need a bring in a really system that rewards innovation, and that rewards to make good games first, and then thinking about how to make money. Make first a good game, and then we can talk about how you want to monetize it. That's probably the main thing, kinda. And this won't happen natural, so we have to force it. And at this point, regulations is the only way I see it. I honestly don't think, and I maybe will make a video about this, a separate video, that the indie market will can force the AAA market to change. I don't think that will happen for different reasons. I was hoping that exclusives may put a change in a shift in the gaming industry, but Epic does a really bad job with exclusives, and Valve doesn't seem to be interested to invest in exclusive titles for the platform. And because we don't have the PC marketplace for exclusives, for an exclusive battle like we have with the consoles, I don't think exclusive will change the market, the AAA market. And I was hoping, because I had the feeling when there are enough really quality games like exclusives that don't need to make money, because the thing with the exclusives is they have to make people want to get on your platform. So these are quality games that a lot of money were put in, and that don't try to screw over the consumers, because you want to keep them, you want to bring them on your platform, and hopefully they will stay on your platform. That's the thing with the exclusives, and because they are from the quality so much better than AAA games, that the exclusive would force the AAA games to change to be better. But thanks to Epic, this probably won't happen anymore. So yeah, so the consumers won't change, at least it doesn't seem so. I mean, there is another example I can make, is like everyone made fun of EA when their stock market plummeted, extremely fell down at the beginning of the year. Everyone was laughing, and I had a lot of Schadenfreude, because it seemed that EA just really started to feel that their shady practices don't work anymore. Next day they bring out Apex Legends, and everyone jumped on the hype train. Everyone played Apex Legends, streamed Apex Legends, and so on. And the stock market price went higher than ever before. And of course you can say like, yeah, I didn't pay anything, I didn't buy microtransactions, so I didn't directly support EA, but you definitely did indirectly support EA, because the game was so popular. Of course the whales came in and started buying up microtransactions and stuff like that. And absolutely, if you're a streamer or anything like that, then there is absolutely no excuse for that. So you see, I don't have faith in self-regulations anymore. Absolutely not. If the market is, if it's a small market, then maybe something can be done. But a market like the gaming industry is too big. There, self-regulation is not working. As I said, I don't want to. This video is already way too long. Maybe I have to cut some stuff out. So I want to keep it short. And I said, I don't think the indie market will kind of push the AAA market to do better. Because I don't want to make this video much longer, maybe I will do a separate video about that. The reasoning why I think this won't happen. It's much further than just money. It goes much further. And like I said, I had a hope with Epic that they would handle exclusives better than they do now, and that maybe exclusive war on PC could change anything. This doesn't happen, thanks to Epic's bad decisions up in the last months and so on. And then what is left? Then just really starting to put in regulations. Anyway, let's end this video here. It's longer than I wanted to make it, but there is a lot to discuss about here, and I'm definitely up to have further discussion. If you have something to say or something like that, please leave a comment. And otherwise, thank you for watching. Hello everyone. I'm working right now on a turn-based RPG. It's a game I'm building myself from scratch. I'm doing the models, the animations, the textures, and of course the scripting and everything myself. You can check it out on itch.io or on GameJolt. The links are in the description. There is a demo version that is focusing on the combat system and the progression system. And you can download it for free, and feedback is always welcome. Thank you.